go into the past life, it was just before you die. And the therapist, she was all concerned, like, and now, oh, you got shot and you're laying on the ground, laying on the street, and where the bombs went off or whatever. How do you feel? But I said, I feel all right. I thought, I don't care, like, really? And I said, yeah, I mean, it's just another death, I feel like I went through millions of deaths, so like you kind of get used to it after a while. And
hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. My next guest is an alternative mind and emotional health therapy coach, Alexandra Corless. And today we'll be diving into a conversation about root cause therapy, how to eliminate your traumas for a more balanced and fruitful life. But as we dive into this podcast, we will also be talking about life between lives. So guys, without further ado, I welcome you, Alexandra.
Yeah, I think it is in the human evolution, what we went through in our bodies, like surviving, trying to survive, all sorts of attacks, and then all these beliefs we created around death. And so there's a lot of stuff in our bodies we are not really aware of.
Yeah.
And because it's also scary and overwhelming, we rather suppress it and we rather distract ourselves, with all sorts of things. And if we keep doing that until we die, dying is a scary thing because we have no idea what then. If people have a really strong belief, like there is God is the light and he will take care of me or it, or and this strong belief can drag us through like death as a thing that's okay. But so many people don't have this belief anymore. I don't want to rant about religions or churches or something. I mean, it's but it did not necessarily help in most cases. So yeah, so we have to do it ourselves basically. And normally the priests have the task to prepare for death or for this transition and guide them into the light. So, but if you ask priests, I mean, I did meet a few, and there have been really nice ones, good ones, but they had no clue what happens really after death.
Yeah, and what's really interesting to me that you just pointed out is how another man or another person would guide another person through death when we all inevitably experience this together. There's no running away from it. So to hear that a person is guiding you through it, to me, makes really no sense unless you've actually gone through it yourself. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah, that's why they can't, because we are not aware really. Nobody is really aware what happens when we die. What is there then? Everybody has a different experience, from the ones who come back. So guiding through, sure, you are alone when you are there, but in the moment of death, but we should not be alone.
Yeah.
We are extended beings. We have that body down here. We have our astral body, we have our spirit bodies, but we are only aware in this body.
That's right. Yeah, our physical form. And we tend to focus too much on the physical body, forgetting what we really are. And that's what I've come to learn as well.
Yeah, so, but we actually can be aware on all levels at the same time. And actually, when we go to sleep, we are in our astral body.
Yeah.
So we die every day, actually, just we don't die fully. But we can't
Ah,
remember.
awesome.
But we can't remember, you know, we wake up in the morning and we had weird dreams or something, you know. So, but also these weird dreams are from unprocessed emotions. So what is driving us all the time is these unprocessed emotions that we have in our system, like from ancestral or past lives, however you believe in it or not. Um, from even when we've been in the womb, everything we got from our mother, what she went through, um, then birth itself, then childhood. I mean, you know, we are also unaware of what's going on spiritually, emotionally,
Mm.
mentally. We are alone as children and we are overwhelmed easily. And so we have not this understanding often or the soothing or explanations. And so we grow up in a really, you know, insecure and
Yeah, don't do this, don't do
scared
that.
and restricted. And, you know, when I was as a child, uh, um, wanting to talk with these people, you know, my parents were saying, "Oh, that's dangerous," and blah blah blah. So, and I got really like um, also scared to touch these topics, you know, like death and what's after that and all that, you know, horrifying stories. And
Mm.
then you get often negative stories and you think, oh my gosh, this is all so cruel. What do I do? You know, I'm like this little tiny being here, and everything is so dangerous, or there's no help. You feel so terribly alone, and then you have to crawl out of this, you know. And I mean, I'm thankful for what I experienced with my personal visions, for example, that uh, I could not when I was in the womb, but later I saw myself caring for myself when I was in my mother's womb. So from then
Wow.
I thought I was there before, so a grown being, you know. And so when I die, I should be the same being I have been before.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I knew there is more. So I kept going, and somehow I always felt the love in my heart, and I knew love is the absolute key for everything. I mean, the love myself or loving others, loving God is the ultimate goal, I would say. No matter what we experience, but what we experience makes it so difficult. So when we hear these emotions that are attached to it, the heavy emotions, and release them because they are stuck in the body, and we have to really get them out of the body. It's not just a mental thing, it's an
Well, to
emotion.
give you an example of what you're saying, for those who may not quite understand, have you ever had that feeling where you knew something really devastating was on your mind and you had to cry, but you would hold that cry in and you wouldn't let it out, and then you would feel almost like a pain in your chest?
Makes you sick. That
Yeah.
can give you really physical illness. So, and this is, sorry, this is why it's so important to work with these emotions and really release them. And because it can be really old stuff that we totally can't remember, or we don't know where it's from. I
Yeah.
mean, you are a baby in the womb and your mother is angry about something, you know, we can feel this toxic anger in our little body, and it will be with us all our life, and we don't know what is that. So we really literally we can go back I mean, it's all still there. I mean, past, future doesn't really exist. So it's all there in the moment anyway. So, and we can go there into back into this moment and find this emotion and understand why it is there sometimes, and just breathe through it and work with it somatically, and then it can come up and it can dissolve. So the
Yeah.
memory kind of stays, but it does not have the charge. And,
Yeah.
and it's not that weight anymore, because also when we are full with these heavy weights and we die and we are not aware enough and we don't have some that strong belief that there is that light that will pick us up, we can get really like stuck there. So in the
Mm.
astral realm, and yeah, feel lost, and we are so blind like we are now, still blind, and there's all that help there actually, but we can't
Yeah.
get it. We are so
Closed
uh
off, right?
off, yeah.
Mm.
So we are never alone really, and there's always guidance and help and everything,
Yeah.
but we can't grasp it, and this is the
I
problem.
I love how you say that we're always guided and we're not alone, because the majority of people that I have on my podcast who've had near-death experiences all say you are not alone, and all you have to do is quiet the mind and
Mhm.
ask for guidance, ask for
Yeah.
help. And it's that simple.
Hmm. So
But I mean,
mm,
one question I would have for you:
yeah,
how would you begin to ask for their guidance? How would you begin to see the signs and knowing that you are being guided?
with me it's always through the heart.
Mm,
Everything that else I'm a little bit like wary. So for me it's the heart. It must be this deep, warm, loving, caring, unconditional feeling.
yeah.
Everything else I'm like suspicious,
Follow the heart, not the logical mind, right?
No, 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 it's right. We have the thing is with the mind is there are different layers of the mind too. We have that lower physical mind that is attached, the lower mind that's attached to our body more, but we have the higher, the astral mind or the soul mind, or yeah, I mean, I'm not a cosmic professor or something who knows all this, but yeah. So our lower human mind, which is attached to the body, is very restricted.
Mm,
So when we trust only that, we don't get far. It's a trap. So
yeah,
sure that our mind is only interested in our survival.
yeah,
And it's a
that's
good
right.
thing. It's a good thing. Yeah. But if we give it too much weight, then everything is just about the physical survival. It's just about like food and about, you know, and it's a one-way road. It's
And
does not.
that's where you find that it's time to get out of the matrix, whereas you step away from the fight or flight mode and tap more into your higher self, which is your more connected spiritual side, right?
Yeah, we need our survival mechanisms in this world, and we
Mm,
need our emotions, and we need also the lower emotions, because they tell us something, and it's important to look at it. But nobody taught us how to do it, how to deal with these emotions. So our soul connection uh, is our real guidance, where our soul desires are what we are actually want to be connected with, what we actually want to live. But our little mind that is only interested in our physical survival, is can't connect with that. So we have to, from the heart, we have to connect with our soul, with our true soul desires, and let us guide from there. And yeah, this is something we have to become aware of, conscious of. We can work on it with meditation, like try to connect from the heart, and get this stronger soul connection. Yeah, just really strengthen it, strengthen it, strengthen it, and then we are our real self.
There's something
And
that you pointed out to me, and I was speaking to a woman who she was on one of my other podcasts, Awakened Minds, where we talk to channelers who connect to beings, higher self, guides, galactic beings. It's quite amazing. We found out that she lived 10-15 minutes away from me, and so we met up for coffee.
mm-hmm.
And she was talking about clearing your mind and
Mm-hmm.
working the spiritual muscle to connect to your higher self. And so it's like a daily practice where you continually listen for that guidance, meditate. But the most important thing she talked about is, when the monkey mind starts to show
Yeah.
up and the thoughts. So say you're on one pathway and you're having these negative thoughts. She mentioned that it's important to sidetrack that thought with a new thought as a way to guide you from that negative aspect and create a new pathway. And it's like a hack that she has to get her out of a negative mindset and into a more positive mindset. So let's talk about the power of thoughts and how this all comes into healing.
Yeah, power of thought is important. I mean, but it also depends where are these thoughts coming from, when you are a very sensitive person, you can catch all sorts of thoughts, and it's really to discern what thought do I want to give weight and what thought not, and just let them pass.
Yeah.
And yeah, don't cling attached to thoughts, and just really double check with your heart. It's like, we when you agree with the thought with all levels of your being, then it's the right thought, I would say. Yeah, but also our stuck emotions are kind of creating thoughts too.
Yeah.
So they are shouting and screaming at us, and when we ignore them, that's no good idea. So yeah, we have to investigate our thoughts.
Yeah. And
you
so
know
can I ask where you got into all of this in the first place? Like, where did this journey start for you? Did you have traumatic experiences of your own that led you down this pathway?
um I actually, when I was a baby, I couldn't sit yet. I was laying in a bathtub, and my mother and my grandmother had a great dispute. They were shouting and screaming at each other, and I was so shocked, and I did not understand it, and it was such a negative vibe. It literally cut something off me, or it literally it felt like a little death, like it went dark, and it's really killing us. I was so wide aware, so wide. I was so I could feel this happiness and lightness and everything, and it really like boom. It was a real killer, this, and I had that so often through my life that as a teenager I felt like I'm dead.
Wow.
I felt I was only wearing really black clothes and black nail polish and all, all I was like, yeah, I felt like the Walking Dead basically. But always in my heart there was that call. I thought there is love. There is, I always had that something was pulling me, that love is the key, and then self-love, and it's the most important thing. And there's the light in there, there's the love for life in there, there is the healing, there's everything comes from there. Yeah, I just want to cry now. So because it's this divine love that is wants to come through our hearts, you know, in this life, in this body. Really, it's also this when we release these trapped emotions and wake up from all these little deaths we went through, and then we can really embody our soul really into. It's not about only just dying and have a beautiful life up there, then, you know, in the astral realms or going into the light. So there are few steps too, like there are lower astral realms, higher, and then the light in the end where we go home, you know, where source is. And layer by layer we wake up, and this is the ascension. Basically, we go through in our bodies, in our lives, but fully embodied. The fullier embodied, the better.
Yeah.
Yeah. So really with our whole being, and then we can really live magnificent lives on earth. You
That's
know, and
beautiful.
it's yeah, and so, and when we die, then, you know, freed and fully embodied, and you die, it's like, you know, it's like you are in heaven already, in paradise, you know, you have it all already.
Yeah. So it's like that's the truth of who we are. We already are there. We're already a part of God's source. We are already beings of the light. We just have to acknowledge that and embody that while we're here in the 3D dimension, in these meat suits, they call it.
Yeah, me too. It's yeah.
So yeah, I feel like having a practice of meditation, mindfulness, another big one I believe is giving to others, more so than if you think that you're giving to others, give more, because the more that you give, the more you're opening that space of love that's opening you up to the truth of who you are. And so if we dive into these practices, you will start to create a better life for yourself that's embodying that heaven version of you in earth.
The earlier you start, the better. The
Mm.
earlier you heal yourself, you can do things without help. Some traumas are better to heal with help, because you can get yourself in overwhelm again and re-trigger yourself.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's a bit of a tricky part. It depends really what it is, what's stuck in your system and in your body. And also, you know, what we believe, you know, is very important.
Yes.
So because when people believe in hell, and then they are sinners and whatever, and they feel so heavy with it, and they think they deserve the worst, what do you think what will happen with them when they die? So, and it's, you know, we always, there is, it, we created ourselves through wrong beliefs, because God is not judging us. God does love us. God wants us home. We literally want to go back home, you know. It's we are all like on a journey, you know, in through all this, and there's always this little bit of homesickness. So that's how I feel often, you know. So and we are learning, we are doing mistakes, and we are learning, and we are experiencing a lot of things. And if somebody did a lot of things he's regretting, and he asked for forgiveness, you know, it's all about forgiveness. The forgiveness thing is so important, and it's, we don't have to punish ourselves,
Yeah,
you
because
know.
I believe that forgiveness is in itself a tool of letting go, not
Yeah,
holding
we have to
on.
let go everything and trust that there is love for us no matter what, and don't get stuck in such self-punishing beliefs that we also got indoctrinated and this is really horrible. And sure, you know, when you are an awakened soul and you've done a mistake, you think, oh, I really would like to heal that. You know, that's a
Yeah.
natural urge to do. You know, there's no need for uh, uh, um, yeah, self-punishment and fall into dark places when really this forgiveness and self-forgiveness uh, um, sets you free. And you know, and nobody can say that they've never done anything wrong or they never have hurt anybody. And but you know, on a higher level, we love each other so much. You
Yeah.
know, there is, you know, it's just love up there, and there is no, oh, I blame you for this and that. It's just our low minds that think these things or take these things on, or yeah.
Can I ask you, when you were a baby and you said you're in the bathtub and your parents were arguing, do you believe that you may have drowned and had a near-death experience?
I did not drown when I was in the bathtub, I know that, but I had, probably there was a drowning in a past life. I remember a death from a past life. Are you interested in a death from my past life, or what are you?
Yeah. First of all, I wanted to ask the question before you get into that. How did you become aware of your past life? Did you have a regression of any kind, or were you opened up to this?
Uh, what we did was a life in between lives. Have you heard of that? Life in between lives?
Yeah, I've just learnt about that actually. Yeah, so
Yeah.
you can go only as far as a life you live between this life and the last one. So when you died in the last life, that area, that sort of gray area, what happened in that period before reincarnation, right?
Yeah, it's not a gray area, it's a light area. It's weird.
Yeah, sorry. A beautiful
But no,
area.
yeah, I went through this, so it was quite beautiful. So you go into the past life, it was just before you die. And the therapist, she was all concerned, like, and now, oh, you got shot and you're laying on the ground, laying on the street, and where the bombs went off or whatever. How do you feel? But I said, I feel all right. I thought, I don't care, you know, like, really, you know. And I said, yeah, I mean, it's just another death, you know. I feel like I went through millions of deaths, like you kind of get used to it after a while. And I mean, I don't want to die in a lot of pain, but then I learned that if you're able to let go when your time is there, you won't be in pain.
Yeah, that's very important to point out because Matthias
Mm.
Di Stefano, he often talks about death and dying, and that the important key to letting go of the pain and suffering is to let go and
Let
just,
go, let go, let go, and just trust that the light is your home and you are awaited there and cared for. You
mm,
know, just really,
let it be so.
yeah, let it happen, kind of, and try and don't attach to things. Or yeah,
Yeah.
that's most important.
So in your life between lives, is that what you would call it? Life between life?
It's how they call it, life between lives. There's a meditation you can do.
Oh,
I
interesting. I'll have to, is there a link for that I can put in this video?
there is a book, actually. I don't know if the meditation is in there, but I can send you the book of the title. I don't have it here. I forgot the name of that of the author, but yeah, I can send it to you. Um,
So yeah, I was going to ask, in that life between lives, so the person who was guiding you through that, you just simply were carefree about it. You were like, oh, this has happened millions of times before. Like it didn't phase you in any way. What was her reaction to that?
yeah, it really depends on what beliefs the person has that guides you through. She was concerned, I wasn't, because I'm not afraid of death. I was a bit concerned about pain, but I solved that. So I was really cool, and I'm like a person that just goes for it, you know. I don't want to if there's fear coming out, I'm saying no, don't want you.
Yeah.
You can't just, if fear is coming up, it's like you're not real. You know, you're just an emotion. I know, thanks, you want to protect me, but that's all right, you know. I heard you, it's fine. Nothing, you know. I'm in control. I feel in control. So, you know, I'm not going to die. I'm just having a look what it was like. And when you are in between these lives, you actually meet your guides, you know.
Yeah.
So it's basically a training for, you can get confidence, you know. Oh, yeah, okay, in between these lives, there are my guides, you know, or they're my spirit family, soul family, whatever, angels, yeah. And you can literally talk with your higher self more freely, and you can hear everything about your soul purpose. And it's not that the person who guides you through is telling all that. So because you do it yourself, and that's what I also love with my work. It's not, when I say guiding somebody through, is like helping him or this person to do it itself, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is basically like a training. You connect with your higher self in between these lives, and you get the information yourself, what your life purpose is, what maybe your next steps are, what information basically you need right now, or they can you give you a glimpse of your future, and you know, things like that. And I think that's very uplifting. It's very joyful. It's, you know, there's nothing, it's fun.
Yeah. Did you take any lessons from that experience? And also, are you able to freely speak to your guides now as a result of that experience?
I mean, that more often you do that and trust in it and open up, you have that light flow. You get that light flow directly from your higher self, and
Mm.
which is connected with source.
Yeah.
And and this is this bliss energy, you know. It feels so light and blissful, and then yeah, and you feel like, yeah, carried and cared for, and there's everything in there you need, you know. It's everything in there. And then when I get involved into earthly stresses, I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
You know, I want to go back to that, you know. But and you can that, you know, then it goes easier and easier with the time. So you fall into some earthly stresses, because yeah, we have that like at work or whatever. But it's easier and faster that you can, you know, regulate that within your nervous
Yeah.
system. And this is that somatic work, working with the
Mm.
body.
Yeah, let's dive into that. So, what does a typical day look like for you when you have a client and you're sort of helping them release their traumas? So, what is the somatic work that you do?
Yeah, firstly, it also depends on the client, where the client is with the nervous system, how much affected is it, how um, grounded they are.
Mm.
Um, and so normally we start a session with grounding anyway, and really feeling the body, get into the body. And if there is something stirring up, really take care of it. and you really can talk with everything that's in your body. It sounds weird, but it works.
I've heard of that
It's
somewhere. I
like,
can't
yeah,
remember, but I know that they were saying that all of the cells in your body are actually listening to you, right?
yeah, you can talk with your body parts or with your
Yeah.
organs. And you can say, "Oh, look, what's bothering you? You know, what's going on there? You know," and you get this information somehow. You know, some people, yeah, we are different with our. Some people see better. Some people are more, yeah, feel things and translate it somehow. And some people hear. I'm not good with hearing that much, but
Do you mean
um,
clairsentient, clairaudient?
yeah, that's the words. Yeah.
Yeah, yep, yep.
Thank you. Yeah. So basically, yeah, regulating all these things in the body again, like you know, we also the things that come to us, they are there for to trigger these things, so we can look at it. So for example, when you meet your soulmate, what I have done 10 years ago, and you think, ah, yay, you know, now you know, ha, soulmate out there to trigger like everything, you know, warm, 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 and you're like, oh, and that was the point where I thought, oh, I need to know more now. I need to know how that all works, because now this is full speed now. I need more tools. I need more, you know, it's
Mm.
speeding up. And that's how I got into this root cause therapy and embodied processing work. And uh yeah,
Yeah, because I know that when you meet, I think it's your twin flame. I think this is what you were explaining when you met your soulmate. It was almost like a mirror image of you. And
yeah,
like, is that where you sort of learnt life lessons based on how you treat each other and you sort of get an idea as to who you are and how you treat others? It's like a reflection of you. So when you're arguing with your soulmate, you're essentially arguing with yourself, vice versa, and you're both getting to understand yourself. And that's why we're put there in that situation, is to expand. Otherwise, we're never going to know.
yeah, it's literally like there's all this is the great love is there, what is good, otherwise you might not get through.
Mm,
So I heard the number, I don't know if it's true, that 80% don't make it because it's so intense. And then
yeah.
apparently, I don't know, when you meet your twin, it's another level. Um, where it's going even deeper, I don't know. Um, so yeah, it's a mirror, but there are also, I only can talk from my experience here. Um, there are differences. So there are like, yeah, I don't want to say extremes, the opposite extreme, but also the same. Yeah, and somehow is it that you have to come from your extreme that you are representing more into the middle.
Mm,
You know, it's kind of, you have to meet in the middle with uh, and also what we are the same, what is not released, like you said, like the way of disputing or something. I mean, if you don't see this, if you don't see this is your mirror and you fight yourself, where can that lead to? In total self-destruction.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so you
So
do need to work through these things. So,
yeah,
but when you do find out with that mirror image of you and fighting in that toxic environment, and as you mentioned, you do have to have that love to get through because you still love each other.
yeah,
Um, so when you're going through that toxic environment, that's where you go, oh, this is what's crappy about me. This is what I need to
yeah,
work on. And so you have to work through it, or you will become one of the 80% that don't unfortunately make it, right?
yeah. And you can really go into a downward spiral, because when you don't wake up to what's in within you, and you keep fighting and reacting like negatively, or and projecting outwards like it's all you, it's all, you know, I have nothing to do with this or whatever, I'm like Mrs. Saint, you know. No, it's really a trap, you
And
know,
that's
when
what we call the victim
social,
mentality.
yeah, or the victim, yeah, exactly. So you really have to face it, and it hurts, you know. It's like, but then when you go, but there's also no point in going into shame or something. Yeah, that's like saying, I can't believe it. Like, really? Oh gosh, you know, oh no. But no, no, it's like, you know, it's just learning. We have to look at it as learning and growing. Our soul wanted to learn these things,
Yeah.
you
And so
know.
as we go along and we start to release these traumas and release these toxicities of ourselves and start to move in a better direction, what then happens to the person that you guide? Have you had any feedback from the people that you've helped, and have they come back to you with incredible stories or transformations? What's the positive side of all of this release?
They become more themselves. So there are two things. Firstly, that they learn to listen to their own higher self or soul, rather than to that mind, or to don't give in to things they don't really want to give in. So there's really this higher self connection. um, yeah, reconnection and strengthening this connection. And then there is the release of all these, yeah, it's literally shocks, you know. And or for example, the most outstanding examples are past life violence, survival violence, all this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was in a few, and it also, they the children had it too. So they had this tremendous fight in the family. So when they got aware of, oh, has nothing to do with now really, it's all this old patterning from this survival fighting. Um, and we breathe through this, we could let this violence go out of the system. And also they, but I have to protect myself. I say, you know, but now you live in peace, now enjoy the peace, you know.
Yeah.
Do
It's
it,
like we're projecting our past
yeah,
into our future.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. And see, that's a
And so,
very dangerous game to play because we don't know what our future is. So if we're just going to continue projecting our past into our
yeah,
future, we're just continually living in the past and we're not,
yeah, that's what we do.
yeah.
We are not in the now. We are not living in the now because we live in the past still, and also are scared about the future, you know. And this is like toxic, yeah. And it keeps us in that loop. So in order to get out of that loop, we have to really let this past go. I mean, you know, there are moments maybe we have to take care of ourselves, you know, it's sure. And sometimes we have to stand up for it. So it's not about like getting all fluffy and, you know, it's, yeah, we have to stand our ground, and you know, for sure, you know. And but we have to let go of that toxic past. And um so now when you look at that family, they have so much fun now. You
Yeah.
know, they, yeah. They're sending me videos like what they, one daughter, for example, she really likes to play theater. And before it was like, oh, the bad lion is ripping the little sister apart, and he was all scared, where will that end, you know, like what child do I have there, you know? And it was totally not the child, it was just the energy that was in their system from the past. So And now when they send me videos of their little theater plays, it's all like, it's so joyful, like,
Oh,
yeah. And
that's really
she's
good.
standing there, the girl there was so, yeah, negatively fighting all the time, and with her super strong survival will, it was all about like that narcissistic stuff, and it's not needed anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and they literally, they start living now, how, like, and it's really heading towards, like they were living heaven, what yeah, we can have it here now. We
Yeah, I've
don't
often asked people
need
that
that.
actually, can we have heaven on earth? Does it
Yeah, we
have to
can.
be? Yeah. And yeah, so I just love asking that question because they do say we create our reality. Our thoughts and intentions are powerful, and we just need to master those, process your emotions, as you say, and really work on them, but not to make it like a chore because it does sound quite hard to grasp, having to focus your emotion, having to think a certain way, having like it does sound hard at first. But if you do continually do this process a little bit at a time each day, you'll start to generate new thought patterns, much like when
Mm.
you're pulling your past to your future, right? You're now generating new pathways, new ideas.
Yeah, yeah,
And that's going to become your new projection because you're
yes.
no longer living in the past now.
No, you're not living in the past anymore. And when the past is released, sure, you're like, sometimes they feel a little bit empty. So what do we do now?
Yeah.
Uh, what do we do now with this, without this past action, And then we are creators. Yeah, we are literally like God. We are creators. We can create whatever we want. I mean, we are responsible too for our creation. So it's
Yeah.
important that we are aware what we create, because
Mm.
at the moment, or most of us are still creating unconsciously, or from the subconscious, from the past, it's within us, and the more conscious we become and create from that divine consciousness, the more beautiful our creations are, and
And it's really
then,
important to talk about this as well. And it'd be really awesome to be able to expand out to people who are actually unaware of their traumas. I do have a few friends who live in a certain way where they live in a very negative aspect of life and nothing's ever working out for them. Everything I do, nothing's worked out based on the past. Look at what's happened in my past. There's no way it's going to work out for me.
mm,
Do you have any examples for people like that who can start to understand that the way they're thinking is not doing them any service?
yeah, no, it's not doing any service. They literally make it worse. I mean, they give more on top on it, more on top, and they strengthen that belief with it. And that
Mm.
belief is, I don't know what's the word. Uh, um, hmm, it's literally. I'm so sorry, I forgot the word.
That's
Um,
okay.
confirming. you know they're confirming themselves that their belief is true, because yeah, it's happening again, and it's a real negative self-destructive loop. And yeah, I think that certain teachings first can help to make people aware, like I explained you, how did it come that everything goes wrong. I mean, it started somewhere in the past, in our families, we got born into, or and it's a really, the school we are going through here on earth is a really tough school. It's
Yeah.
really a tough school. We really get hit from all sides, and really to work our work work ourselves through. Yeah, it sounds like hard work, And I'm not saying it's easy, but it's possible. It's possible for everybody if they only want to, and if they literally start opening up a little bit. Yeah, like you said, like in little steps. It's not like it's, I mean, there are kind of miracles like that for some people, that it goes really fast, and for some not. It's really depends on, I can't say for your friend what way it would be, but yeah, for some it's going really fast, for some it takes a bit longer, it's a bit more work to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's definitely possible. And sure, the worst thing are the healing hangovers, because when you release them, when you release all that toxic stuff what your body was used to, it has to, yeah,
The
rewire. It's
process of elimination, right?
getting rewired, everything is getting, and then the body starts to detox.
Yeah, I'm a little
Literally.
sick right now, and
Yeah.
I saw a video this morning. So my neighbor had a sore throat, sore chest, and then we were hanging out last night, and I woke up this morning, I'm like, oh, my throat, oh my God. And I was thinking, oh, this really sucks. But I saw a video as I was scrolling through Instagram, and it was about understanding that when your body detoxes, it's really good. It means your body's doing its job.
Good.
It's
Yeah,
eliminating.
it's
And I
good,
was
but it
like,
hurts.
yes.
Yeah, it hurts. It's very uncomfortable. And I had one client, she had huge panic attacks, and it was from the womb, where she nearly died. And then
Mm,
I told, but it went all really good through the sessions and everything. And I'm holding the space, and and there's a lot, the light work, what I'm doing, it's and with all that guidance, it goes really, really smooth, everything. It's uncomfortable, sure, when you breathe the shit through and stuff, but the 1-2 week after the session, it really can kind of bring everything up, and you kind of think, oh, I'm totally re-triggered, and I'm going back into overwhelm, but it's actually not. It's actually releasing. And
mm.
so that's why I'm there during that healing hangover. They kind of protect me. I don't leave them alone, but she really 5 o'clock in the morning. I can't, and I said, no, it's all good. It's all good. And after 2 weeks, it was gone.
Yeah,
So,
it's just
and his panic
processing.
attacks were gone. But it's
Yeah.
uncomfortable. You have to kind of face it while it's leaving you, but
Mm.
then it's literally gone. There can be more layers to it or something, but really when the hard stuff is gone, it's getting easier and easier and easier, and it's getting really fun.
Yeah, it's like chipping away at our bodies so that we
Yeah,
can get more in tune with our lighter self.
yeah,
So
yeah.
they're getting rid of the heavy junk. Oh, it's so
Yeah. Oh, the
releasing.
afterwards you feel so, oh, yeah. But, but then the next layer might come up, but
Yeah.
a few layers. But it really depends on what you have,
Mm.
and what would you carry with you, and yeah.
Yeah, but the another thing is, when you're not releasing, you're projecting. And so, you got to wonder what your relationships are like. Are you fighting all the time? That's where you go, oh, I'm projecting again. I need to work through something else because there's something else going on that I'm not quite aware of. And it kind of continues in that way. But once I feel if you have complete peace in your life, you're in a mind space where arguing is not something that you're interested in, conflicts are just not a thing of the past now. You're living in your bliss and you're more happy and your friendships are more peaceful and joyful. I feel like that's where you're beginning your true journey into this life, where you've shedded all of the darkness and all of the bad negative things that have built up in your life. You're now living your peace, which is fantastic.
Mhm. Yeah, and a big part is the fear. The fear is keeping us from doing these things that actually would help us or free us, and that's the fear is the first
Yeah.
to overcome that. And I think that's what we have to do, really, what you are doing, giving people all this information so they can let go of that fear, you know, so
Well,
they get that, oh, there is something, I can go, I can do that, you know. Yeah.
yeah, well, I mean, I believe that the fear of death is the biggest lie. It's the biggest lie to mankind. You know, all these people I'm speaking to, even yourself with your experience, you're not afraid of death. It's beautiful. When you get there, it's the most beautiful experience and it's already who you are. So why be scared of going home to being your true self? It's the most beautiful, blissful
Yeah,
experience. So
totally.
don't be afraid of death. I'm not afraid of death anymore. I haven't died,
Absolutely.
right? I'm excited. And I mean, I don't want to die. I love my
No, I
family. I
don't.
want to experience, I want to learn, but
Mhm.
I'm not afraid of death anymore. It's
Good.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And I actually have a really good question. So I'm sort of diving into a new area here.
oh,
But with your experience, do you understand why we came here? You know, what is our reason for being here? And how did you find your purpose from that experience? It's kind of a three-part question.
um, I mean, when you start from scratch, from source, basically, source is the whole consciousness. It's one big consciousness. So we are all kind of little drops of this consciousness. And it started with like a second, like first creation, another being with a separate consciousness, because it's, you're freaking alone, you know, as one consciousness. So split it in many, you know, you can have a whole experience, you know, like where's the point, you know, with just sitting around and doing nothing, you know. So we created that all for ourselves, basically. All these roles, so we get different personalities, or different, we pick different roles. So like it's such a big puzzle, you know, and we all represent such a puzzle. And and yeah, and we create these stories, and we create these um um yeah, we want to learn from, and we want to grow. It's about growing. It's like there is that story in the Bible, you know, God gave you these talents, and now you go and do something with it and bring something back.
Yeah.
You know, this is the whole thing. There's not much, it's not, it's
I love how you make it so simple. You know, we just decided to expand. We just wanted to learn. We just wanted to
yeah,
try a new thing.
it's a big theater game. It's just a huge self-fulfilling game. It's like what we, and yeah, and this the lower the dimension is, or the denser the world is, and we forget all this, and that makes it also, that makes it
Yeah.
also crazy, I would say, you know. And I mean, we literally strengthen ourselves when we manage to get through it fine, you know.
Do you believe that it's more real there than it is here? Like, this is the game, this is the dream, that's where reality is?
Our reality is our consciousness, it's our, the light, the love. We are the essence of what God is our reality too. And this all is, everything else is illusion. All our bodies are actually just a carrier, and for this consciousness, you know, for, and to get all these experiences. And you look, if you look at every second, you make some sort of a decision. Might not true, might not, I don't know every second, but I mean, during our life, during the day, we make all these decisions, and every decision we make, we could have actually made another decision. So, and what God basically does is, he, in the end, we have lived through all possible decisions we could have made. And this is so endless.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter, kind of,
Yeah, just live in your bliss and get on with it and just really
live,
experience.
just live. Yeah, just live. Sorry, just live
Yeah.
and enjoy the good moments with your family. And this is what is real. Our human connections. That's the only thing that's real.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing. It's not important to, be super successful, like materialistic. Sure, it's good to be, but without this connection to life and to love and to our brothers and sisters, this is when you're really alone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
when you don't have
connection.
this heart connection with other people, that what makes you, or the connection with God itself, you sure it's all one thing. So when we drop out of that, we are alone, and so my purpose, what is my purpose? My purpose, what I always felt, is love. And there is this saying that these awakened souls that are actually were able to be that conscious, that they know they are God, they sometimes come back and try and help the not so awakened ones. And to bring them back home too, into that consciousness. And I think there are many of out there, and they're getting more, because the more people awaken, the more light beings we are. I mean, there are so many terms. I'm not sure how to say that. And to make it, I like to talk simple, so that everybody
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
what. Um so we are all it, but so many can't remember. So I'm here to remember them, who they really are, and just help them to be themselves again and live, and don't be caught up in that lies.
Yeah. It is a little scary at times when you've lived a certain way most of your life and then you realize the truth of what's really going on, where we really are, who we really are. Things do get a little chaotic, and that's when we go through dark night of the soul. Things are scrambled, we're trying to piece things together, then we got to release and let go of traumas and just chip away at every little bit of ourselves that we once knew, and just start to become at the our true selves. And then we're finally awakened, and at that point I believe we've reached this area where, okay, it's now our job to help others. So we're at this space in life where we now are awakened. And I do this because there's so many avenues to get to that point of an awakening. But when we get there at that higher level, we can now show others how to guide through this. And that's why what you do is so special and so important. So thank you so much for what you do in your services.
Thank you. Yeah, we all do what we can. I couldn't have done it earlier because I wasn't awakened enough, so, but I don't say I know everything, but I think I got the juice of it, and I'm able to explain it and help step by step. Yeah. So
Well,
yeah.
there's different levels, there's different people, you know, we each have our own talent. So, you know, whatever yours is, you're using it. Whatever mine is, I'm using it. You know, everyone's going to find their talent and share their light one way or another.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that you have to be a guru. It doesn't mean that you have to
No guru.
learn psychic abilities or whatever to learn the
No,
truth.
no.
You know, you can just have a job at Bunnings or
Yeah.
Woolworths and share your light by smiling
Yeah.
or listening, right? So yeah, it's all about sharing the love, guiding others, and teaching what you've learned so that they don't have to go through the same thing you went through. And
Everybody needs to be picked up somewhere else, you know. It's and like you said, and it's also a vibrational thing. I mean, we all have different personal vibration, and it serves different people, you know, to reconnect, and that's totally great. We are one big family. We are no, it's that oneness, but it's also this diversity in oneness. And that's what I love. You know, we are not all the same. We are all from the same, and we are same consciousness, but we have different vibrations. Like, I mean, somebody said in one of your podcasts that it's all that beautiful sound, and then these colors, and then there are the sacred geometry, and that's the language of God, you know. And we can, and we are unique souls created, from there. And this is just so beautiful. Like, we are just a huge symphony or something, you know. And there are a few, when we dive into this unawareness, being and doing all these, trying to manage without the connection, and we are doing mistakes, and then what we learn basically is, oh, that does not feel really good. It's so much better to live in harmony.
yeah, that's
So coming
definitely
back
true.
into this harmony and live, you know, to the cosmic rules of harmony. So when we are able to do that, we are really grown-ups then. Back home, yeah.
Well, I appreciate you coming here and sharing your wisdom, sharing your story. I wanted to end this podcast by, if you could share a positive note from your experiences as a takeaway from our viewers.
Yeah, just believe in what you really are and never give up. Never, ever, ever, ever give up. I was like wandering through a dark jungle as a teenager, and I thought it was like I thought there's no chance everything ever will get better. Also, I mean, when you look into the world and think, but there was always that light stream, you know, when like the sun, like a ray of sun coming through and touching your heart. And this is the way, you know, this is, follow that, will literally follow that, and you will get there.